everybody, and welcome back to episode 60 of The Endless Party.
Woohoo!
Today we are super excited because unbeknownst to you, we have a new setup and a new member of the party.
Yes.
Dreamy.
It's a camera.
It's a camera. Her name is Dreamy. And let me tell you, friends, it's been
a journey to get here.
It's been a journey to get here.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. Nonetheless, we're really excited about today's episode because today's episode...
This one's a big deal.
This one's a big deal episode. I think Elijah should explain, how this episode came to be.
So first of all, obviously you can see from the title that it's the Purpose of Life Party.
What is the purpose of life?
So yeah, what is the purpose of life? That's a question that has been around since the beginning of this earth. Right?
Everyone wants to know what the purpose of life is.
So we wanted to know, right? We wanted to figure this out for ourselves. Naturally, we reached out to 250 philosophy professors from across the nation and asked them that simple question as to what the purpose of life is. And my goodness.
Did we get responses? And none of them, honestly, were what we were expecting.
No. I'm going to be honest with you right now. The majority of them said they had no idea. So that's pretty reassuring of taking philosophy classes from these people who don't even know what the meaning of life is.
There we go.
But it was awesome. Honestly, I really just want to express gratitude for all the professors that actually took the time to respond back. And some lovely responses.
There were some great responses.
There's some pretty out there responses as well. So we're going to read through the responses real quick, and then we're going to just dive into a little bit as to what we believe the purpose of life is, as well as we would love your own take on it. So make sure you comment on what you believe the purpose of life is and share it with others. So let's dive in, shall we?
Let's jump in to these. So Elijah sent emails. I wish we could show you on the podcast, but if you're listening, his whole computer screen was full of email addresses.
Oh, I will say this as well. So I went and found all 250 emails, right? And now they're all automatically saved to my phone. So now I have so many email addresses just in my contacts, and it's rather annoying.
They're all these professors.
They're all these professors. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Would you like me to read the first one, or what do you think?
Yeah, you know what? The first one is gold.
Okay.
So read the first one. This comes from a professor from Notre Dame, and I just thought this one just was so good.
Okay. What is the purpose of life?
Yes.
This is
his response.
This is what he believes. Based on the scholastic principle that a thing's purpose is that to which it naturally tends, as the purpose of a stone is to rest at the lowest possible place, it is evident that the purpose of life is death.
So I didn't understand that one at all.
I
don't know how.
The purpose of why we are here is to
die.
We're here to die, Elijah.
That seems pretty morbid.
We need a black and white.
That just is really setting. Yeah. If I go back and edit this video, I should just really just.
The purpose of life is death.
Right.
Okay.
So that one was pretty just morbid. Thank you for the response, Professor. I appreciate that. This one was also my favorite. So this comes from a professor from Notre Dame as well. And he was actually the first one to respond back. And he just said, "Good question. I'm not really sure." And I was like, hey, good on you. At least you're honest, man. You're not sure what the purpose of life is. So that was awesome.
The next one I'm going to say is another professor said, "Not my area of expertise." Sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
This one was arguably my favorite. Hopefully he answered the question and it wasn't just a statement towards
We're not sure if it was towards Elijah, but we think it was an answer to the question.
So, the professor from Iowa State, he said, "Don't be a bumhole."
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't a bumhole. It was
This would be an a-hole.
It was a hole.
Try to keep. This is a clean podcast. This is a clean podcast. I'm not sure if we should even include this content.
I really hope
it was
geared towards the question and not to me.
Because if it is geared towards what is the purpose of life, I would say that's a meaningful purpose.
It actually is a meaningful
I actually
purpose.
think it's a pretty good
Just
response.
be a good dude.
Be a good person.
Don't be a bum.
There you go.
Yeah, so that one was pretty awesome. This one came from University of Colorado.
It's a bit lengthy.
That's okay, go for it.
In my view, life or human existence has no purpose per se. Human existence would have a purpose only if someone created it for that purpose. But no one created us. We came about by chance, through blind evolutionary processes. But this isn't to say that life is not meaningful or valuable. Even though we weren't created for any purpose, it is still possible to have a meaningful life, and a life well worth living.
So, this actually reminds me of a story real quick, and it's like that understanding. So obviously, if you're watching this podcast or listening to it, you guys know that we're deep Christians.
We deeply believe that we
believe
have
in
a
God,
creator.
We believe in Jesus Christ. We believe that we came here with a purpose.
For a reason, yes.
But there's a story that basically says like, if there's an explosion in a printing press, do you really believe that a dictionary is just going to pop out?
Oh no, or if you like put a cell phone, take all of its pieces apart and then shake it in a box, that it's all going to come
together magically.
Hey,
yeah.
That's on the theory of evolution, but yeah.
So
this professor, I'm like, can you see why we have issues? Like,
I know.
Okay.
These are PhD graduates,
these
man.
These are dark. Okay.
Okay, this is another professor. It says the question seems to presuppose that someone created life. If some person created life, then that person might have a particular purpose for doing so, or perhaps that creator did so simply because life is intrinsically valuable. However, there probably wasn't any person who created life, so each individual has to decide what purpose their own life is to serve. There are many valid purposes, though of course, not every possible purpose is morally acceptable.
Okay, I will say there are pieces of this that I really like.
I agree.
I do think when we get back to explaining what we believe the purpose of life, I do think it is different.
There is some validity
and I do think
behind that one.
I do like that one because I do think that each of us have to kind of figure out what our own purpose is.
I would agree.
And I do think that every person does have a different purpose here.
Yes.
I think we're all striving for the same things, but I do think each of us have something different to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's proceed. This one was really encouraging. Thank you for your email. I encourage you to frame your research around a more precise question. You might start doing some of your own research by pursuing the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. I was like, okay, that's fair. Like, I guess if you want me to do some research first, that's all right. But little did she know, I have done my own research. Just saying.
We're just trying to see what the educated believe in here.
Right, you know, that's all I was trying to figure out.
Okay.
This one came from University of Michigan. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna read it.
I think we should.
You think we should read this? She wrote me like a novel.
She really took time to read this. I mean, to write this answer. I kind of want to, you know, just start reading.
I'll give you an overview, okay? So she basically says I need to frame my question in a more precise way too. And she goes, to make it more precise, more needs to be known about who is asking this question and why. I propose 3 possibilities without ruling out that there could be others. Call these possibilities existential, theistic, and secular.
And then she goes on to explain each of these.
So existential is somebody that
possibilities.
A person in despair might ask this question because they are wondering whether there is any point to continuing their life. Then a person that is, what was the other one?
Theistic?
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 Yeah, I don't even know. So that's more people ask this question because they suppose that we were put on this earth by God or some being. And then what was the last one?
Existential.
Secular.
No. Oh, secular.
Sometimes people are asking this question because they are wondering what to do with their lives. They are just starting out in life and have yet to choose some path or plan of life. So I was like, okay, actually, that's pretty fair. So one person might be asking this because they're wondering whether or not they should even continue life. Another person might be asking this because they are wondering what God has in store for them and what they should pursue in regards to the relationship to their Creator. And then the last person might be asking this because they have no idea what they want to do with their lives.
I actually kind of like that answer too.
I do too. I think she did a very good job at framing that into 3 very distinct parts. She did a great job.
There you go. This next one is, I'm going to read it.
This is a good one.
My 30 years or so of experience in philosophy has become more of a question than something I think is to be definitively answered. For me, at least, the question of the purpose of life has become an ongoing conversation that continues to expand how I think about the issue. An ongoing conversation not only with colleagues, friends, and people in the larger community I find myself in, but also, and really especially, with books. I read pretty widely in philosophy, poetry, literature, history, and biography. I'd probably be better for it if I read in other areas too, but these areas are more than any one person could really make a dent in anyway. My taste leans philosophical, and some important touchstones that I return to time and time again have proved to be Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, Epictetus's Handbook, St. John of the Cross's Dark Night of the Soul, Montaigne's Essays, Voltaire's, I'm butchering these names, Candid's, and Peter Eckermann's Conversations with Goethe.
That one's deep.
No, he didn't answer the question at all. He's just into literature.
It's deep because he basically was like, yo, I don't know the answer to this question.
But here's some books I like to
But
read.
this is what I read on the subject. He was great though.
He was
appreciate the responses.
We do appreciate the responses.
This was from Brown University. I confessed I have not thought much about that question. That was it.
This professor has the coolest name. The next one.
Crisp.
Professor Crisp.
He's from Oxford.
I feel like he's literally Professor Chip. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, especially in England. What up? Okay, so he says, life itself has no purpose, but there is a reason for anyone to continue living if they can, pleasure or enjoyment.
That's a good, there we go.
Fair enough.
Next one, I don't exactly work on purpose of life related issues.
Which is, I find fascinating because doesn't everybody work on that?
Well, he doesn't work on that.
Well, but he does. Like, we all do,
I know,
right?
I
You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
Okay.
He just doesn't.
Okay, so then this I just want to know. A ton of professors were on sabbatical leave. I don't even know what that is.
They don't do this. I don't know either.
What's sabbatical leave?
I'm
If
not
you guys
sure.
know, let us know because I don't know. And then a ton were on maternity leave. So I'm like, hey, good on you. You know, go be with your kids.
Go be with your baby.
That's a beautiful thing to do.
Okay, all this to say, we reached out to a lot of different people because
250 people.
Because we were just so curious as to what other people believe the purpose of life
Really
is. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting to hear all of their different responses.
It's honestly really cool because they all have a philosophical background, right? And in philosophy, you read from Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, all of these philosophical giants, so to speak.
Yeah, people have
And
come up with theories.
And they all tried to answer this one question. And what's fascinating is nobody has a finite answer. But I think there is a finite answer.
I do too. I think you can come to your own finite answer. And
I
I don't
agree.
think you have to be confused.
No, I don't think you have to be confused.
And I don't
either.
think the purpose of life is death.
No. I think the guy who said "Don't be a bumhole" was on better.
I actually
the
think
guy who
he's-
said the purpose of life is death.
I actually think so too.
So we actually, Meg just finished this book. I read it probably 6 months before she did, and it's Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules to Life.
Yes.
An Antidote to Chaos. Now, this book, we've talked about it before, but he does a great job. He's very in-depth.
And
He's
so really
smart. If you're going to read this book, you got to be all in, guys.
I will say, these responses have shown that while we are educated, that, got some more to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not as well-read and educated as these people who have given us the answers.
No, absolutely. That's why... Hats off to that professor that was like, you should do more research. And
Probably
we probably should. So, I think that's fair. But he actually talks about the purpose of life in his book, and it's really fascinating how he dives into it. And he actually quotes Socrates.
He does, one of the philosophers, the father.
Philosophical giants.
He's basically
that we
the father of philosophy, honestly.
And it's pretty cool what he actually says. So we're going to actually dissect that a little bit and talk about it. And then we're going to even go in depth on what we believe that our purpose is and how we each can discover for ourselves what our own purpose of life is.
Would you like me to read it?
That'd be great.
Okay, so comes from Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules to Life. Socrates' experience seemed to be that he had lived enough in his life so that when push came to shove, which it certainly did, he was able to gracefully let it go. I believe Socrates was poisoned.
I think
he was forced to drink his own poison.
I'm pretty sure he was.
Anyways, I'm glad I participated in some things, but I would like
So basically what he says is he goes off of what Socrates just quoted, what Meg just quoted. And then he says, looking back at my life, it's this understanding that I'm glad I participated in certain events of my life, but I would never go back and participate in them again. So for example, if you went through a really trying experience, you can be grateful for that experience in the future, but you can also say, actually, I don't want to do that again. I'm grateful I went through it just because of the meaning that it brought me and the strength that I have been able to obtain because of it. But now, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. I think what he's trying to explain too in this is he says the purpose of life is actually like growth and progression.
Yes.
And that's what Elijah and I deeply believe in. And the things that bring us the most growth and most progression normally have the most meaning.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is the reason why they have the most meaning is because those events in our life were really hard.
Yeah.
And they're not something that we would want to do again.
Absolutely. I actually just think about why we even started this podcast in the first place was because of our 2 baby girls, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why the name came about, The Endless Party, and all of the things. But looking back at that experience of going 10 days with no sleep, having to have you go into an emergency C-section, it's like, I am so grateful for what we went through just because of who we became as people, but I don't want to do it again.
Right.
I really don't.
No, I don't want to do that experience again either.
Right.
But it's so weird because it's like you're so thankful you did it. But you're like, I never want to do that again.
I agree. But it's pretty fascinating because I just look at it now and how much more meaningful our life has become within our own marriage as well as within our own family, right? It's like, I would do anything for you and those 2 baby girls. Like, you thought you loved somebody before? Well, have them go through a C-section and then experience 2 preemie twins.
And you're like, wow.
And then you're like, wow, dude, like, this is real. And it just, this new profound meaning even goes that much deeper. And I don't even know how to explain it other than, like, you have to experience certain things for yourself in order to find that meaning. It's kind of like, we actually just had this conversation today. I don't think you've really lived or can truly say that you've lived until you become a parent.
I agree with that.
And there's just something about it.
I think there's just something so selfless you have to give.
100%.
And it just makes you more human and just more appreciative of what people have done for you to be here. And also, it just makes you, I don't know, it just makes you have a deeper respect for, like, the sanctity of life, I think.
I agree. But it's overall just fascinating. And honestly, if you guys want to share some of your own experiences that have helped you discover the purpose of life, we would really like to hear them. You know, because me and Meg went through this, mainly Meg with her C-section and other things. But we've all experienced hardships and trials that have made us better people, that have helped us come to a better understanding of what the true meaning of life is. For example, this is actually a good caveat into how we believe that everybody's purpose in life can be different. For example, that you read these stories of individuals that have been through really trying experiences, and then what do they do with those trying experiences?
They overcome.
They overcome, but then they go and educate people on how they overcame it.
Yeah, they overcome to something greater too,
yeah, always. 100% of the time. It's pretty cool because all of a sudden their efforts are magnified dramatically. They went through this one hardship, and then all of a sudden they became a giant in whatever field that they're in. There's a man by the name of, I think it's like Nick Vujicic. He's a paraplegic. He was born with no arms, no legs. And he talks about how, he wrote a book, it's called No Limits, and he talks about how he is living his life to the fullest as a paraplegic in comparison with, like, had he been born with arms and legs, he doesn't believe that he would be where he is today.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Because of his trial, right? And that's what's so fascinating is he found his purpose through his trial. And I think that's ultimately what all of us can do, you know?
Right. I think also, too, after my own self-discovery, and I get it, I'm 22, so my purpose is probably going to change, but I think what I've found is, one, what makes myself meaningful is, what makes my life meaningful is the growth and the progression I have to, experience through my life experiences. And then two, I think my purpose and what I believe the purpose of life for me is to do as much good as I can for as many people as I can. And I guess I get emotional about it because, like, that's so wholeheartedly what I believe. That's what I want to do with my life. I want to do as much good as I can for as many people as I can. And I think that's also why we started this podcast, because our hope is that through this, we can impact people and help them to, realize that there is something inside of them and that they are here for a reason and that there is a purpose. Mm-hmm. And I would say, too, I think what's interesting is, I think, like, doing good comes in so many different forms. Yeah. There's so many different ways to do good, but I would argue the most successful people are the people that have been able to take their own talents and then, manipulate them in a way that they can do good for good for as many people as they can. Like, I have a couple examples. One, this is someone we talk about all the time because we think he's really cool right now, Mr. Beast.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's been able to use his passion for creating videos and creating entertainment to then take all the money he's earned from these, like, entertaining videos and then serve other people. Mm-hmm. Even like Steve Jobs. Like, he has changed our world with technology. And I think all of these people have done it by trying to do the most good they can for the most people they can.
Well, what's so cool about those examples that you just gave, it started out with just a simple idea, right? Apple was Steve Jobs. Mr. Beast was a YouTuber.
Right.
And then it blossomed into something so much greater because they were living their life's purpose. And I feel like when you truly do live your life's purpose, naturally you are going to benefit the society as a whole.
Right.
Right? I mean, I even think back to people whose life calling was to be a teacher and an educator. And the impact that they can have on one student that ultimately changes the world.
It's amazing.
It's phenomenal. Or even as somebody who believes that their life's purpose is to be a mother or a father.
That's valid and that's meaningful.
It's just as valid and meaningful as somebody who goes and makes $1 billion. Right? Because they can impact these individual lives on such a monumental level that we can't even begin to comprehend how much of an impact we can truly have just by doing what we believe is our purpose.
Right. And I think, too, if you want to know what your purpose is and you want to find meaning, it's like, pray to God, ask Him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll let you know.
He's going to let you know.
Each of us has a purpose. There's a reason why each of us are here on this earth at this time.
Well, and that's why we're all so unique.
Right? And in choosing to believe that, I think that why wouldn't you want to believe that?
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't that going to bring so much fulfillment and joy and peace into your life?
Yeah.
Even if it's not true, which I believe it is.
Yeah.
But even if it's not true, why won't you live like you
Life
have
to the fullest.
Yeah, and live like you have a purpose. And live for something good and stand for something good.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I mean, the reason we even asked this question in the first place to all these philosophy professors is because we believe that this is a question that everybody is searching for. And it's really cool because we even think about it now with what Meg just talked about. Why wouldn't you want to live your life with purpose, with a direction, with a vision in mind? So we encourage all of you to find your purpose in life. And like we said, we found it by asking God. We found it by conversing with each other. We found it by doing research. We found it by asking philosophy professors.
Found it by reading books.
Their emails are out there. You just gotta ask.
You find it by getting married. You find it by having children. I think you find it as you go.
Yeah. And I think that's where a couple of the philosophy professors had it right on the head. It's like the purpose of life is continual. It's an ever-growing process, and that's why I think even Socrates had it right, where he's like, I grow, I progress, I improve. Like, our purpose continues to grow so long as we continue to grow.
There you go.
Yeah. So, thank you for tuning in to this episode. Please please subscribe, please do all the good things.
Yes. And please keep watching because
it's about to go down.
It's about to go down, and our video quality is just only going to get better. So,
that's right.
So anyways, Thank you for being here.
Until next time, go find your purpose of life.
Peace.